Okay, good morning, yogis, and thanks for joining me for another morning flow. So as always, make sure you're fully set up. Make sure you've got maybe a block or a cushion or some support nearby. We don't always need it, but it's nice to have one nearby anyway. That's it. So let's get straight into it. It's going to be a nice beginner-friendly all-round flow, all-round full-body flow, and that's it. You don't need to know anything else. Let's get down onto the mat. So we'll start off in a reclining position here. So gently make your way down onto the mat. And what we'll do this time is extend the legs away from the body. Start fully reclining, fully extended. And make sure the neck's long. If you need to prop the back of the head up on something to reduce tension, we'll do that now. And then what we're going to do from here is find somewhere comfortable for your arms, of course. So wherever feels most neutral for your shoulders. What we're going to do is point the toes away from the body. And we'll just awaken the feet a little bit. So we'll point the toes away from the body, and then we might flex the toes, or keep the feet pointing away from the body, but flex the toes back towards the shins, and then press into the heels. And sort of guide the whole foot back towards the shin now. And then we might tuck the toes, or curl the toes, should I say, and then point them towards or away from the body again. So we're doing this sort of little wave-like motion with the toes. Flex the toes back towards the shins, and then the rest of the foot follows. So you'll feel the heel press away from the calf. Let's do a couple of those. Curl the toes under. Then you'll tuck the heel and point. Roll the toes back, or flex the toes back. Then press through the heel. Nice, and really press into the heel and draw the toes back towards the shin. Feel that big opening out over the back of the thighs, over the calves there. Then curl the toes in. We'll do one more. Point the toes and flex back. Keep the balls of the foot pointing for a moment, and then press through the heels. Perfect. Then just let your feet sort of fall out to the side. And from here we're just going to do some circles, or whatever, if you want to kick them around a bit, if you want to rock them from side to side. Don't worry too much about what you're doing. Don't get too perfect about it. Good. From there we're just going to slowly walk those feet back towards your body until you feel the lower back flatten out a little bit. You feel the pelvis sort of rock itself back towards the navel. And when you've got that nice comfortable positioning there, we're going to bring the hands to prayer position and reach up towards the ceiling. So what you'll notice when you reach up towards the ceiling is your shoulders will probably follow and lift away from the mat. What we might do is try and ground the shoulders down here. And you'll feel your chest sort of lifting away from the mat as you ground down through the shoulder blades. Now let's do a couple of those. So we might start with an in-breath. Put some pressure down through the shoulders, lift the chest and soften the elbows a little bit. That's it. Then exhale. And then inhale, reach towards the ceiling. And feel the back of the lungs. Then exhale, bring the shoulders down towards the mat. Now inhale, inflate the chest towards the hands. Good, and exhale. One more of those, inhale. Feel the shoulder blades separate here, and then exhale. Ground the shoulders down, feel the chest inflate. If you need to soften the elbows a little bit, that's cool. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do one more of those. Inhale, reach up. And exhale. Inhale. Now this time we're just going to exhale and bring the hands down towards the ribs here. Wrap the fingers around the rib cage here and really check into the sensation of your breath. We're going to take a few really nice, deep, energetic breaths here. So what we'll do is inhale through the nose and see if you can fill your lungs up. Sort of expand them out towards the elbows here, but also up towards the ceiling. Even feel that space between your chin and your chest expand. And now we're going to hold for the count of 3. Then press the lips together and exhale. Give yourself a nice energetic exhale breath. For as long as you can. Inhaling through the nose. Expand. Hold. Count to 3 here. Really puff yourself up. Lengthen the spine. Press the tailbone towards the heels. The crown of the head towards the space above you. And then exhale. Breathe as much air out as you can. Inhale. Really feel the lungs press against the ribs here. Really inflate into the ribs. And exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale. Holding. And exhale. Now this last one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to take one more deep breath in through the nose. And you're going to open your mouth and just breathe it off your tongue now. Brilliant. Now let's move into some more movement. So let's transition to some next movement. So what we'll do is inhale and arch the lower back here. Use that same deep breath in, breathing it out through the nose if you can now, and then exhaling, dragging down through the lower back. Rocking the pelvis forward and back here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Lovely. 2 more. Inhale. A little bit of a lift in the chin so you're not collapsing into the throat. Then exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Now at the end of this breath we have the option, and I mean the option here, to lift the knees in towards the body, the soles of the feet off the ground. If that sort of isn't possible for lower back problems, or if it's just doesn't feel right, we can keep the soles of the feet on the ground. Otherwise the knees are stacked above the hips or slightly behind, but we won't lengthen them out in front of the hips just for now. Get nice and wide in the shoulders, get nice and open in the elbows, nice and long in the neck. Create your column to twist on. Take a deep breath in, and let's rock over to the right hand side. We're going to squeeze the knees together here, then use that strength to inhale, come back up. And exhale, come over to the left-hand side. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, keep the shoulders grounded. And it might look like this if you don't have your feet off the ground. We're going to inhale, come back up. And exhale, come over. You can sort of dip further into your twist. You can explore a bit with each movement. Inhale, we've got 1 more on each side. Exhale. If you're feeling confident, you can actually look out over the opposite shoulder, but don't crunch into the back of the neck. Inhale, coming back up. And exhale, coming over. Inhale, coming back up. Now, we'll meet back up in a neutral position here. And if your feet are on the mat still and you're twisting like that, that's fine. From here we will all bring the knees in towards the body. And if you do need to, you can bring the hands to the knees here and support yourself and just hold that for a few breaths. We're going to take 5 breaths here, and you can gently sort of rock your hips from side to side. If you want to go a step further, we can bring the hands to the lower ribs, and we might already be in this position. We will just rock over to the right hip, And then we're going to do some circles with the knees here, so a little bit of abdominal warmth. And then rocking over to the left-hand side and drawing the knees in towards the ribs just a little bit. Don't force anything. That's it. And then coming back over to the other side. So if you're supporting your knees, you would have your hands on your knees like this and you would just be gently drawing them in. If you're really going for it, you're just playing with the distance of those circles, or the circumference of those circles. So we're going to do one more of those in this direction. And we're going to come back. And let's paint 5 circles in the opposite direction with the knees. And you should feel a little bit of a lifting of the tailbone as the knees come in towards the body. And then there's an engaging of the front body, so we're not lifting into the lower back too much as we extend the legs away from the body. And I've lost count, but we'll do 2 more. Once again, your hands might be on your knees supporting your lower back, and that's fine as well. Last one. And we'll come around. Now let's all bring our hands to our knees. Take a deep breath in. Squeeze those knees in towards the ribs. Inhale, extend the arms, keep the hands on the knees here. Separate the knees out nice and wide. Take a breath here, inhale. Exhale, draw those knees in towards the outer ribs or towards the edges or the sides of your body. Feels so nice. Let's do one more of those. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, release. Coming back up to a neutral position. Bring the knees back in towards the midline, feeling the tailbone lift a little bit, and then just rocking yourself from side to side. So whenever we create tension, we're always taking action to release it. Perfect. Let's release the hands, lower the soles of the feet back down. Make your way up into a seated position here. And we're going to meet up in a seated position. And you might possibly be sitting up on a block for this. You might not be. Bring the soles of the feet together. And then bring the heels in towards the body here. It doesn't matter how far the heels come in. You want to be comfortable. You want to feel like you can pick your tailbone off the mat, up off the mat a little bit there. And sort of tilt the pelvis forward to give yourself a nice upright spine. And if that means sitting up on a block, or a cushion, or even just a folded towel, that's fine as well. So from here, what we're going to do is just lift the chest, showing your chest towards the ceiling, not the throat and not the chin. We'll keep looking just towards the front of the mat, or the space in front of you. Cool, and from here, we're just going to arch the back here. And you can even slide your hands forward if you like. Slide the hands back. You might bind the hands around the shins or the feet. Inhale, loop the shoulders back and lift the chest. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're doing 2 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhale, coming back up. We're going to do 1 more and we're going to hold. We're going to rock the pelvis forward. So really lift the tailbone away from the mat. Roll up through, opening the chest. Draw the shoulder blades together a little bit if you like, and then exhale, let it all separate away. Let your hands slide forward. Take 3 breaths here. Find somewhere comfortable for your arms. If you're wrapping your hands around your toes, you can, that's cool as well. It's a little bit more energetic. maybe a little bit more aggressive to sort of draw yourself in, but you can if you like. Otherwise, we can take a more passive approach and just sort of let the weight of our body guide us down into the posture, and that's lovely as well. Take a deep breath in here, fill the back of the lungs. Exhale. Inhale. And exhaling. Sliding the hands or walking the hands back. We're going to transition into the next movement. So we'll bring the knees up in towards the midline here, up in towards the, into a neutral position, and walk the feet away from the body, but not too far. You want to still be able to maintain a nice upright positioning here. Now, we might be on a block, we might not be, and we're going to bring our hands to the back of our thighs there. What we're going to do is not so much lift the chest, although we are expanding into the chest, and we're just going to slowly tilt ourselves back. Now, if that means positioning yourself a little bit differently on the block so you don't fall off the back of the block, that's cool. Or even walking the feet back towards your body. We want to find a nice little counterweight, sort of between our upper body and our legs. I like to imagine a little tripod here, sort of your tailbone and your two sit bones that we're sitting on. Now, what we're practicing here is maintaining this nice long spine and trying not to crunch in or collapse into the neck or the shoulders too much. Good, so this is our boat pose variation here, and you can have the hands by the side if you like. You're going to take 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's do 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhaling. Nice. Then we're going to exhale, draw ourselves in towards the legs there. Wrap the arms around the backs of the thighs or whatever is most comfortable. If you want to extend the legs, you want to walk them forward a little bit, that's cool. And then curl yourself in. Once again, creating tension but releasing it always. Inhale and exhaling. Release the hands. Let's come up into all fours. So however that happens for you, there's no magic transition, whatever works best for you. And here we are. Let's just sink back down over the heels. Extend the arms out in front, get nice and long in the spine. Point your tailbone towards your toes and reach the crown of your head towards your fingertips. Deep breath in. Long exhale. I'm going to inhale, come back up onto hands and knees here. Now from here, we're just going to do a little bit of movement into the wrists, or into the palms and the fingertips, should I say. So placing a bit of weight down through the knuckles, and then lifting that weight away from the wrists. So see if you can manage to sort of bear the weight down through the wrist and into the knuckles here, and then lift one and then the other. Nice. And then lower back down. Curl the knuckles under. Roll the fists forward, or make little fists, and roll them forward and extend out over the top crease of the wrist there, or the upper crease of your wrist. Take a deep breath in. Once again, lengthening into the spine, so point your tailbone towards your toes. Release. Cool, now we're going to come back up onto hands and knees. And here, what we're going to do is, we're just going to bring the heel, the right heel, out away, or it's an internal rotation of the hip, but an external sort of that you're bringing the hip or the heel outside of the mat there. And I just want you to see what that feels like and how far your rotation actually goes, because we're all built differently. We've got different looking hip sockets and we've got different amounts of mobility. So just feel out what works for you. Find your rotation there. Let's have a go on the other side. That's it. Nice. So from here, we're actually going to come back over to that left knee and find that rotation, that comfortable rotation. Make sure you're firm through the knuckles, firm through the hands here. And then we're going to extend this right leg. Now you might be thinking, whoa, this is crazy, what are we doing? But it'll make sense in a moment. We're going to roll over onto the right heel. And then we're going to point our right hip towards the ceiling. And what will happen is you'll notice as we point our right hip towards the ceiling, the pubic bone is going to want to press forward, and that's good. And then this hip is actually going to stack on top of the knee. Now we're not picking the hand up here, I was just sort of showing you guys. And then all we're doing is we're going to roll back. That's it, you can bring this left knee back in, if you this left heel back in if you like, to a neutral position. And we're going to roll out. And come back down. Rolling over, lifting that hip, and coming over. There's a fair bit of weight in the wrists here. So making sure you're pressing down into the knuckles and protecting the wrists. Now we're over on the right arch and we're going to hold for 3 breaths. Now anyone that wants to take it further, you can actually bring this knee back further, and that would put more weight down into the upper body as well. But we don't have to get too crazy with it. If you really wanted to go for it, you could bring right hand to right hip. But we don't have to either. We'll take a deep breath in here. Long exhale. Press this left hip forward. Inhale. That's it. And rolling back over. Bring this right knee down. Let's release the wrists again. We'll sink back down over the heels. Bring the knuckles in. Bring the fingers in, make a fist, and press the knuckles forward. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the palms down. Expand the fingers out. Let's come up onto hands and knees, and let's have a go on the other side. So remember, you're finding that distance that works for you. For some of us, we'll be able to really rotate the hip outwards. But if you're feeling pressure in the lower back or pinching in the hip, it really doesn't need that much extension. So don't worry about it. Or doesn't need that much rotation. Don't worry about it too much. So now we're extending the left leg. Softening to the elbows if you can, not locking in. And we're going to roll over. And just playing with it like that. Now, try not to fall into your hips here. Try to press the pubic bone forward. And then we're going to come back over. And what we're looking for is the hips to sort of, this internal, external rotation of the hips. And lift. And come back. I like to use the inhale breath to lift the left hip. And exhale. You can bring that right knee forward a little bit if you like, to sort of take the weight off the hands. And exhale. Now, next one we're going to hold for 3 breaths. And there's options to take variations. I recommend trying to sort of tuck the tailbone and press the pelvis forward. Naturally, you're going to feel the weight pick up off that left hand, and you come up into the fingertips if you like. That's a nice little next stage. You can even slide that left hand back towards the right hand a little bit, or play with lifting it off the mat. Either way, whatever feels right. Take a deep breath in. Now, let's roll over onto the toes of the left foot. Spin this right knee back in. Lower the left knee down. Come back down onto the palms of both hands. Bring the knees out really nice and wide here. Sink back down into a wide-legged balasana, a wide-legged child's pose. Elbows down the mat. Cross the hands over or stack them on top of one another. And start to rock into the hips a little bit here. Take some lower back release. That's it. You can even tuck the tailbone and then let the chest melt in, see what that feels like. If you want to extend your arms out in front completely, that's cool. Take a deep breath in. And a long exhale. Now guys, we're coming back up onto hands and knees here. Bring the knees back underneath the hips. And we're making our way into a reclining position, extending the legs out to the side, sitting down onto the hips. sliding forward. It's tempting to wrap the hands around like this, point them away from the body, but please point them towards the heels. Roll the elbows in, take a deep breath in, let's lift the chest. And then lower down, maybe one elbow and then the other as you exhale here. Walking the feet back towards the hips here. Actually, we're going to extend the left leg. And I'm going to take a deep breath in. And I'm going to exhale, squeeze down into the lower back. Then I'm going to bring this right knee in towards my body. Wrap the fingers around and gently squeeze it in towards my lower right ribs. This is so good for digestion. So just put a little bit of pressure on the abdominal cavity there. And we're just rocking from side to side. Don't bring it out too far. We don't have pressure on the lower back. But you can start to shift it over towards the right knee, over towards the left hip there. Starting to open up over the piriformis and the prime movers and everything, and the glutes and everything. Perfect. Now we're going to come into our full twist here. So I recommend just shifting your right hip to the right slightly. This will help us keep the spine lined up. And you'll notice you really easily just sort of rock over into the posture like that. I'm putting a little bit of just the weight of the arm down on this right knee. But I am going to press through the heel of the extended leg. I'm going to try and keep this column nice and long. This right arm can do whatever you like. It can extend out, palm facing up or down, hands to the lower ribs, but try to keep the right shoulder grounded. Deep breath in, long exhale. Stay long in the neck also. Inhale, exhale. If you want to shift this knee around a little bit, I like to sort of move it up and down a touch and see if there's any sticky points there you can scrub out. Deep breath in and a long exhale. And coming back up on the next inhale. 5 or 6 breaths there. And then let's start on the other side. Inhale. Exhale. Slide this left foot back or bring the knee in towards the body. Bind the fingers. Set yourself up for the posture first, so just making sure there's no pinching or sharp pains in the hip there as you draw it in towards the body. Just start to prep yourself for this nice big twist. And this might be as far as we go, and that's fine as well. Now, if you want to come into the full twist, then you will slide the left hip towards the left hand or the left edge, maybe 1 or 2 inches towards the left edge of the mat there, which allows us to roll in to this twist really nicely. Pressing through the heel of the extended leg and pressing through the crown of the head. Not forcing anything here. Give yourself 5 or 6 breaths there. Also try and make sure your tailbone is sort of pointing towards the heel of the extended leg. So we've really got this nice long column. If you need to shift or feel like shifting this leg around a little bit, that's cool as well. Sometimes it creates a really nice release in the lower back as well. And then we'll come back up to a neutral position. On your final breath, use the inhale to neutralize here. Slide this right leg back. Bring hands to knees. Squeeze the knees in. Sort of brush those thighs out over the right ribs. Over the right and left ribs, both sides. And then wing the knees out to the side. And bring them in towards the midline. And start to do some outward circles with both knees, some external circles. We'll come back in the opposite direction. That's it. bring the knees in towards the midline. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and squeeze the knees in. Maybe lift the chin. Tuck the nose in between the knees if that's available. You can even wrap the arms around the shins. Inhale. And extend the legs. And find yourself in your final resting position here. Savasana. Take any movements need be to shift around and get more comfortable. Take a deep breath in. Open the mouth. Breathe it off the tongue. Do 2 more of those. Inhale. Breathe it off the tongue. Last one. Inhale. Really express it. And that's your final controlled breath. Let your body shift back into its natural rhythms here. Let your whole body soften. Just scanning up and down the body, noticing for any points of resistance, or any points of tension, any muscles that we might be holding on to. Often we hold onto the jaw, we keep it a little bit tight. Often the chest is a little bit tight. We're holding the shoulders up. Maybe we can just let them sort of roll away from the chest a little bit. Anywhere there might be resistance. Maybe even the throat softens a bit. Then take a moment of stillness. Let everything become quiet. Then take a deep breath in. And a long exhale, gently pressing the lips together. Start to move the body around a little bit here, start to reawaken. Take any movements need be. And we'll make our way up into a seated position here. Hands at heart center. Sealing our practice as always with some gratitude for ourselves, our bodies, our ability to change and learn and grow and adapt. For the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. Take a deep breath in. Namaste.